Identity security, and in particular legacy approaches to authentication, has vulnerabilities that are a top cause of data breaches. What are driving identity-based risks? First, with digital transformation, organizations are shifting their workloads to the cloud. According to research from ESG, 65% of organizations use 3 or more public cloud infrastructure service providers, and the majority of organizations use at least 500 applications. Second, the pandemic changed how we work. In the new paradigm, organizations have to support the always-on, always-available workforce, working anywhere, using any device at any time. More clouds and more applications mean more identities and more identity management and governance solutions. And this leads to an expansion of the attack surface. Unfortunately, identities feature prominently in most cybersecurity attacks. According to the latest Verizon Data Breach Investigations report, 82% of breaches involve the human element, primarily phishing and exploiting stolen credentials. With many different IAM tools and authentication methods already in place, a siloed approach to authentication can create gaps and inconsistencies that can be exploited. To combat identity-related attacks, organizations are deploying multi-factor authentication and phishing-resistant passwordless authentication. Certificate-based authentication is emerging as a strong solution to achieve phishing resistance in a holistic, efficient, and frictionless manner. Joining me is Bassam Al-Khalidi, co-founder and co-CEO of Axiad. Bassam, can you talk to me about the path to passwordless and phishing resistance?
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Jack, as you stated, in the past, we had applications that were on-prem and within the perimeter, and they were protected by PAM. And now we see the perimeters completely remote, and new threat vectors have emerged. And now for organizations to address these large number of online applications, IAM has come into play, but now securing the IAM becomes extremely important, especially securing from phishing resistance. Hackers are not trying to break into organizations, they're trying to log into organizations.
How do we balance protection and usability with passwordless and certificate-based authentication?
Absolutely. I think that's the key, is we want to run both paths in parallel. We want to ensure that the user experience continues to be as seamless as possible, but at the same time, not sacrificing any security. At Axiad, we've really made certificate-based authentication simple, turnkey. It addresses all the gaps that are needed within the organization. So rather than securing 80% of the resources, is how can we take the organization to do 100% CBA or certificate-based authentication across the board in a unified way, in a simple way to manage the lifecycle and to use it.
How would you clarify and classify Axiad's approach to certificate-based authentication?
Absolutely. I think the key here is leveraging open standards, right? So everything we do at Axiad, we try to do as much as we can with leveraging the standards that are out there. By doing that, it really becomes plug and play. For example, the Axiad platform is up and running in 42 minutes, and you have everything that you need to do a certificate-based authentication to your existing IAM, to your existing endpoints, to your existing Wi-Fi access points, to different applications. So that is something that really makes it simple and turnkey without sacrificing security, absolutely, at the end of the day. And that's the whole point of doing certificate-based authentication. If we look at a lot of the authentication methods that are out there today, they're not true passwordless, because underneath the covers, they're still relying on either agents or different types of mechanisms where they're maintaining a password or pre-shared key and then replaying it. At Axiad, we believe in true, secure, lockdown, passwordless, leveraging certificate-based authentication for everyone and everything.
Well, thank you, Bassam. IT complexity, driven by multi-cloud, hybrid cloud application proliferation and remote work, makes the work of security professionals far more difficult. As organizations embrace passwordless authentication, it's becoming essential to manage the growing number of passwordless credentials. Rather than adding yet another siloed IAM tool to the mix, Axiad can supplement what organizations already have in place with certificate-based authentication for IAM. By delivering a holistic, systematic approach to passwordless authentication and phishing resistance across an entire IAM ecosystem, Axiad should minimize authentication vulnerabilities that result in breaches.